Welcome on back, everybody, to some more Vintage Story. Today, I think we have some big plans. We are finally at a point where we can get into smithing, and I'm very excited to do so. Before we get on with it, however, I think our little smithing area over here needs a little bit of renovation. I have an idea in my head of how I want this to look. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but we're going to give it a go. And then, once we get past that point, we will start some smithing. Very, very excited for that. So looks like we are getting very close with our crops here. We're in the last growth stage for a lot of these. But it does appear that moisture levels are dropping. It's been nice to not have the nonstop rain, but it is giving us some growth speed issues. And these ones actually, I believe these turnips are the ones that I harvested and immediately placed back down. So I think this is a problem with nutrition levels on those. But everything else, the moisture is a little low. So let's grab our watering can and give them a little water. Let's get all you guys nice and watered now. Love to see it. I know somebody at some point had mentioned that watering your crops can be a little therapeutic at times, and I have to say that I do agree. So we'll finish watering all these, and this is actually increasing our growth speed, even by a little bit, so that's good. But we'll finish up watering all of these, and then we'll go ahead and get started on our blacksmith building. We've now got the materials gathered up that I think are what we're going to use. Now it's just a matter of deciding how we want to lay this out. And like I said, I think I have an idea in my mind on what we want to do here. Let's start off with some of our corner pieces here. Now I know wood is probably a very bad idea, but we're going to try to keep our fire as far away from the wood as we possibly can. We've got this here. Okay, let's tuck it in by one, maybe. Okay, let's start actually. So we do have this rammed earth. Let's keep in theme with the other house. Just kind of we'll play around with it, and then we'll decide where we actually want things later. I think that's kind of the width of the building that we want, right? Rest of it will just rest of it will kind of just go back into the mountain. And then we can carve quite a bit of the building out of the mountain. So I do like that. I think, though, I want it to be tall. At the very least, I want it to be around that height. Maybe one taller is what we want. And we'll just carve this out to get us more dirt. That's kind of what we want there. And let's replace these corners with logs like we have on the other building. That'll be good there. And then we'll replace this one as well. And we should, because it's going back into the mountain, we should only have to do that detail on the two front posts. Or two front corners, rather. One more. Great. And then that'll be the kind of the height we're looking at here. Let's find a safe way down. That's kind of what we're going for there. Like a thin, very thin building. And are we using oak? Yeah, we are. Okay. I don't know why those look like two different colors. You are not supposed to be in there, though. So come on out. Deal with you promptly. Thank you very much. I'm not quite sure where you're spawning from. I think light levels are pretty good in here. Might have to look into that a little bit more. I don't mind this for now. There's a chance we might want it a bit wider at some point in the future. But I think what we're also going to do is just take some of this other dirt that we have. And we're going to flatten out the land a little bit. So we're gonna take our log back, and I don't have an axe on me. We're gonna take our log back from under here. We're also gonna take our rammed earth back. Well, except for this one, but we'll deal with that later. For now, we're just gonna build this out a little bit. Just so everything's a little more flat and a little more uniform. And I think eventually we'll connect all this up to be at this level, but this will be all right for now. Gotta make everything look a little neat, a little like the world put it there that way. And then we can take these andesite cobblestone blocks and fill in the same detail we have on the house down on this section here. Fantastic. And I think what we'll also do, since I've already knocked all this stuff down, is right in here, we will have another entrance to get in and out. I think that will be good. So we'll have an entrance here, and probably a ladder running up the back to get into the top section there. Because we'll probably have the floor right about here, which I think will give us enough room on the second level. And then that will be for storage of a lot of this stuff. Is it probably necessary? No. But that's okay, because I like it. And since we have that there like so, I would also, just to balance things out a little bit, like to place another post here. Come on. Like that. There we go. That looks pretty good. Do you like that? I'm a little bit worried about, you know, having all this fire in here and using wood on this section, but I think to combat that, we're going to push everything back by 1 for the time being. And let's, while we're doing all this, because we're going to renovate everything here, let's go ahead and inventory is a bit cluttered. Let's go ahead and move everything on the inside of this new structure that we just built. Ooh, a little bit of zinc. Can I harvest that? Oh, I sure can. That's good, because I wanted to replace this back wall. That should just about do it for... No, it shouldn't. Oh! Jesus, buddy. Scared the crap out of me. You're a new one. Surface Shiver? Have I seen you before? Alright, and this is the new interior of our blacksmith workshop. So, it's gone back a little bit. That's mostly to keep any flammables away from the wood and the roof that we'll be putting on very shortly. Now, I think even now, one of the things you all suggested, because I made a little divot in the back wall before to hold my tool molds. So a suggestion I got was to make a tool mold rack, I believe it was called. Maybe let's just look up rack and see what we get. Aha. Maybe a vertical rack is what I was thinking. We will need planks, but I believe we're not too far off from obtaining them. Okay. But while we place things out here, I think we have a center, right? Let's see, 1, 2. We do have 9, so this will be 4. So this would be our center. I think right in the center, I'm going to say right about here. Let's place you down just as a placeholder. I think that's what we want. Right in the center here is where we're going to place our anvil. Bam, right there. Right in the center of everything. I think it's a good spot. I'd like, honestly, like a little, like, let's say an array of, like, tables and whatnot in here, but this will be good for now. I think also, something that's going to be useful, and let's make 2 of them, are some tool racks. So we can place those over here against this wall, and that's where we can keep these guys here. Ooh, hello? There we go. So we can place these. I did make a lot of tool racks here. I mean, we have more space than we have tools, but I'm sure that'll fill up at some point. Alright, but next thing will be... One, we need our forge. That's going to be important. So I'm going to say let's put our forge, I guess right in the corner might be a good spot for it. I think that'll be all right. And now I'd like to pick this up, but we're going to, all of our peat is going to come flying out. Mostly because I think I want to expand the entrance in between these two. I think that'll be good. And I think, now that I'm kind of laying this out, here's what I'm thinking. Is that we're going to go one back on every other. That just so happens to line up very perfectly. It was definitely planned. 100% planned. One pick. And we'll have these guys here will be our pit kilns. We'll have 4 pit kilns going. Right over here. We'll center it on this wall. I did leave this open intentionally, so it's felt a little more open, but I think having it closed off there is going to be nice. And then we'll do right in the center here. We will place our forge. We'll go right there. And then we'll just do a little cleanup on this back wall here. Looking lovely. Okay, and now that that's done as well, I think this being right in the center may not be the move any longer. Because when are we realistically going to be using this, right? We're going to be using it with the forge. So I think having it in line here with our forge, we'll leave a little gap in between everything, will probably be the better move. And in addition to that, because what we're also going to need, I think, with our forge is going to be our little fire pits, and we'll just throw that in the corner. I think will be an okay spot for it. For the time being. And now it's officially a fire pit. So we have our 4 pit kilns, we have a forge, we have an anvil, and we have a fire pit. What we don't have is a very elegant storage solution for any of this, but that's going to be all right for now. All right, so that's all looking pretty good. The only thing left to do is to put a roof on this place. And that should be pretty straightforward. The only thing... Great. Now, the biggest difference between this roof and that roof over there is that this one had an even number of blocks, whereas, let's get it down without hurting ourselves, this one has an odd number of blocks. So, we are going to have to make ourselves some top pieces, and we'll find out how to do that. All right, and we now have a thatch roof ridge. So we can go right up here and slap this on like so. And I might have made too many. That's okay. I'm sure we will at some point have a use for these. Let's see if I can reach. Of course I cannot. Oh! Actually I could. Just not in the right direction. It looks like this one actually has to be placed from the side, which is strange, but nothing we can't handle. But we should. Okay. Oh, a little too low on that one. Okay, but that one's placed. We'll come down here. Youch. We don't need that guy there. And now we can take a step back and admire our work. Not too bad. It's aight. Kind of have the same thing going on here like this. These like steps. But all in all, I think the place, it really ties the place together. Kind of feels like a little compound here. What I'd like to do next is to start building some path blocks. Build a little path from here to here. I'd also like to build a pathway down to the farm, up through that little peninsula, and build a little bridge over there. But that's going to have to all wait. Alright, and with those few finishing touches, moving these inside, these are also where these are going to stay for now, with the exception of these 2 crucibles, because that and the ingot molds, I think, are going to probably be used a bit more frequently than, you know, these maybe. So, for now, until I can make a rack, these are going to have to stay in here. And we'll have some storage for metals and charcoal and whatnot in here. There's still a couple things that need to be changed, like the flooring in here. Should be switched over to rammed earth. The back wall here, which I'll probably leave for now. It's not a huge deal leaving it like this. And up here as well, some of these textures. But the general shape of the building is done, which is pretty good. And our section here, our little workspace, is all worked out, which is very, very exciting stuff. Let's for now get everything prepped. We'll place you in here. I don't know how many units of copper are going to fit into these molds here. 20 pieces smelt into, oh, says it right there. 20 pieces into 1 copper ingot. Okay. So we're going to make 2 copper ingots. So we are going to need 40. Create 200 units of copper. So we'll have that prepped and ready to go. Our charcoal here. And we'll take the wood out of the fire and we will... Well, actually, we'll start it with wood and then we'll get the fire. Or we'll put the charcoal in after. And I see another bad guy in my house. What are you doing in here, bud? You know, I thought I had this place pretty lit up, but they just keep spawning in here. And I couldn't tell you where they're coming from. And I don't have a knife. So, while it is nighttime, we are going to head down to our little hut. And we're going to pan this bony soil. I could have swore I got more than 5 on our expedition out. But maybe I'm wrong. Alright, so not a bad haul again. We had 5 of the bony soil, and we ended up with a bronze copper arrowhead, 5 flint copper arrowheads, another, did I say bronze? I meant copper. Copper spearhead, this bronze armlet, which I'm not sure if I have any use cases for. I tried looking it up in the handbook, but I think maybe we could sell it for some money, so we'll hold on to it. And then, of course, we got some flax and some bones, which are pretty typical. All in all, not terrible. Not the best we've ever gotten, but that is okay. Now, I was trying to also do some research on this temporal gear that I've gotten. So, the tooltip here says can be shattered to create a returning point. I'm assuming that's like a spawn point. Can be used with a knife to restore temporal stability with some pain involved, right? So I guess if we're in a temporal unstable area, we can use it in conjunction with a knife to restabilize the area a little bit. But I'm more interested in what the returning point is. Because I want to know, is that like some sort of teleportation? Like I can set a return point and then use something else in order to return there? Or if it is just a spawn point, like you die, like you can change where you respawn in the game. I'm not quite sure. I was trying to read the handbook on it, but I may have to look up some wikis. But I don't know. I'd like to figure out what to do with it, because I feel like this is a very important part of the game. I also saw you can make an amulet with it. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. And I think it has some other uses too. But I don't know. For now, I'm going to hold on to it until I actually decide. But I think sooner than later, we're going to have to go out on a real exploration. Now that daylight is actually back on us. Just about. Moon's still out, but sun is rising. We can get a move on and put our... I was going to say put our new smithing skills to work, but this is our first experience with smithing, so put our learning caps on and get ready to figure out how to forge items. So we've got our 200 units of copper. So we'll light this up. We're just going to have the 1 piece of wood, and then we're going to, I think 2 charcoal should do it for now. And we'll let that get up to temp. While that's cooking, let's grab ourselves some tools. We are, I believe, going to need both of these. We'll throw this guy in our offhand. Also, thank you to, I believe it was Phantom. I think that's how you pronounce that. For giving me the shortcut on making things that are offhandable in your offhand. It's very useful. I've done it by accident several times, and I've kept forgetting to check the hotkeys, so I appreciate that. All right, so our copper is almost up to temperature, or rather, it's up to the temperature, and it's now just starting to melt. We'll leave that be. Now, I'm also of the understanding... Oh, that's the rest of that. We should be okay here, I think. I'd hate to waste a piece of charcoal. It looks like we're actually going to be all right. Fantastic. Let's grab this and let's fill up our 2 ingot molds here. There's 1 and there's 2. Place you right back down there. So those have to cool down first, which seems counterintuitive, right? But I guess they have to become solid, and then we have to reheat them. So I don't know how many pieces of charcoal you can put in the forge, but I don't believe you have to fill it all the way. So let's do 2 pieces of charcoal, because we're going to heat up our 2 ingots, and I think that should be okay. So once these have cooled down to a workable temperature, we can then light our forge, or rather we'll place those in, light our forge, get them up until they're white hot, and then we can pull them out and we can start working with them on our anvil. While that is cooling down, I think this is in a workable state. So we can finally replace our final hand basket with, I think that's got to be up there, and more cattails, with a hunter's backpack. What we like to see. And let's see, can we actually... Yes. All right. And this has nothing in it, and we can then break it down right back into cattails. So, we've increased our inventory space by 4 slots, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're out and about, it does a lot more than you think it does. Let's see how these are doing. So it looks like these, actually at least the one, is in... Oh, maybe this one too. Yes, in a workable state, right? Can we actually... No, because they're not hot enough, right? No. Okay. So now these need to go into here, and we can light this up. So now our forge is lit. And these need to get to... It just said white hot temperatures. So I don't actually have a temperature here in mind. I guess it's just something we're going to need to watch. I'm thinking about this now. The 2 charcoal might have actually been too many. I may have wasted some. But that's okay. This is a learning process. And it looks like we can add more fuel if need be. So they're getting red, which isn't quite hot enough. Man, this game is really cool. Oh, and they're orange. Okay, all right. We're getting lighter. I don't know if this is quite as hot as we need them to be. But the temperature does not look to be going up anymore, so... Yes, this might be... Place work item. Aha! Okay. Now the possibilities we have here. Oh, there's so many different things that we could make. Some of these, it looks like, are items that we also have the mold with, right? like a copper hammerhead or a hoe. I think a saw blade is going to have to be first, right? Let's go ahead and craft ourselves a saw blade. Now, this is a little bit more complicated. So smith, rotate work item. So we can... Okay. That makes things a little easier, I think. And now we can add material. And select our mode here. Aha. So, oh, I see. I see. Okay. This will shift. Oop, come on. We'll shift this one all the way over. Shift you over. Down to there. Okay. Let's get around this side of things. Okay, okay. And then I think we should be able to just do one of these. Right? And we'll pull all of this out here. And we'll even... Oh, come on. Nope. Okay, we can't do that. That's fine. Let's, I guess probably it wouldn't technically be connected if we did it that way. Right? But we should be able to... Yeah. Okay. And... Right? And we'll just... Okay. What other... Heavy hit and split. Let's see. Let's try splitting. Aha. That's kind of what I assumed it would do. Right, so we don't need that one there or that one there. Honestly, I think we don't need anything else. I feel like I'm wasting so much material, but... Okay. Then we don't need that or that. Oh, uh-oh. Okay. Misinput, but that's okay. Hopefully, let's not get a misinput. Let's not misclick. Fantastic. So now, we have a copper saw blade. Now, how do we actually craft this into a saw? Copper saw, just a stick and a saw blade. This might be too hot to work with. Yeah, it's definitely too hot to work with, right? Oh, I guess not. We can just craft the saw. And we've done it. Finally, we can make planks. Another monumental moment in this game. But that's enough celebrating because we have another piece of iron sitting in this forge that is getting cold. So let's pick this up, place her down, and let's get to work on the next item we want to make. I'm kind of torn with the next item I want to make. Because... Torn between... Oh, alright, well now I'm torn between 3 items. A chisel, a scythe head, or shears. And I think first we're going to have to make shears. I think that's going to have to be the go-to. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. Rotate our work item. And hit everything up. So we'll go. Ooh, I'm thinking we might actually need more material. Okay. Yeah, there's a chance we may need more material. What happens if I do that? Nothing. We need up, right? Can't hit that piece up. Why? Why? What if I do it to the right? No, it still doesn't go anywhere. Interesting. About do one of these. No. Interesting. What does a heavy hit do for us? Not doing a whole hell of a lot. Maybe we need to rotate this some other way. Can just grab it. There's no way for us to move this material anymore. Ah! Aha! Okay, hold on. I guess we need to hit it from the side. I see. Okay, okay. That won't go anywhere, right? But that will. And then that will. Let's place you in that back corner. Place you over here. Okay, alright, we're getting the hang of this somewhat. Just try to move everything back now. And then we do have leftover material, so we can just hit it with the split. And now we have shears. And I don't think we have to do anything special with those. They are still hot. I don't know if that actually did anything because I'm holding them with the tongs. But we've now made a saw and we've made shears. Which is very, very exciting. So smithing doesn't look to be a super difficult process, honestly. It's it takes a bit of learning, but I think once you get it, it's really not that bad, right? Other than if you need to add material, right, or put it back in the forge to heat it up again, because you are on a time limit, but it's a pretty long time limit, so I'm not super worried about doing this in the future. I think what we are going to have to start doing, though, is stockpiling ingots. So we may have to make some more ingot molds. Nope, and those are too hot. Too hot to hold. But I think we all knew the first thing I was going to do once I got a hold of a saw. And that would be making, finally, a replacement for the crude door. And I think it's going to have to be a sleek door. Sleek, solid door. I think I like the look of the solid door best, but I want the windows. Oh, okay. Never mind. I can't make a sleek door. I can only make a solid door. which we will need oak boards for, which we will obtain by using the saw and a log. So let's get our log, and let's grab our saw and get 12 oak boards, which can then be used to make some doors. And the smile on my face right now. The smile, well, okay. I don't think there's a command for me to smile in game. But finally, where's our axe? Give me here. We can ditch these terrible doors. And now, I can sit here all day long, opening and closing this door, and it will not break. I'll say these ones actually were nice too, for having like the little gaps that you could see through, because I don't have any windows yet. But I will take the door no longer breaking over being able to see through it any day. And I put my logs away. So we'll make one more door for our new blacksmithing building that we've got going on over there. Being able to make boards is opening us up to a lot more opportunity. Okay. And I don't think we're going to really need a double door here for now. We'll leave it all exposed, but everything I ever wanted to craft and couldn't, I now can. And now I don't remember what any of it was. All these items now. Bookshelves. Plaster blocks. Granite salt and quicklime. Okay. Make a wooden bed. Display cases. Oh, we can make crates. And we can make a wooden chest. We need nails. We need iron. Alright, so we can't actually make a wooden chest yet. Oh, we can make it with copper. Hold on. Hold up. We're about to bring storage to a whole new level. 2x3 gates? Whoa. Okay, hold on. So we can do smithing and make nails. Alright, we know what we're making next. Screw the scythe. Screw the chisel. We're making nails. We're also going to make a bucket. How was that made? What am I missing here? Planks, flax twine. Ah, it's 4 of them. Flax twine and our boards gives us a bucket. Very excited to have that as well. Now, we can finally fill in some of these areas in our farm. Nope. Maybe. Can I not? I don't know why I thought I'd be able to. How does one use a bucket? Well, there are other things that we can do with the bucket. Thought I could just pour this out, though. Oh, empty control click. Aha. Okay. There we go. That's looking good now. These are all source blocks. And I think these are all source blocks. Very, very nice. Let's see how our cabbage is doing. There's 12 growth stages to cabbage. Which gets me quite a bit more nervous. That we won't have enough time to grow these. Because it is August 3rd. But we do have some crops to harvest here. We have a lot of turnips to harvest. So let's go ahead and grab all of those. And see what kind of yield we've gotten out of this. We're certainly going to be living off of turnips for a while over the winter. And it looks to me that these are still growing. that in addition to our turnips here, carrots are still growing, that we also have a lot of our grains have matured. So we've got rye. Let's go ahead and harvest up our grains. You're still growing. You're still growing. Okay. So we've got the rye there. We've got some spelt here. Sure, spelt. This is all still growing. Growing. That's grass. This is also still growing. Our flax here. Okay. It's very like hit or miss. So we do have some of our spelt here. Right down the middle. That has matured. And, of course, all this flax down here. Flax and rye are still growing. I'm sure none of these have matured yet because they are all pretty brand new. So let's take a look at what we got. So, we have 2 and a little bit more stack of turnips. A lot of spelt, a lot of rye. This is going to do us very nicely. We're not going to replant. I think it's a little too late in the year. And I think we're going to be quite all right on food for the winter. Oh, my God. You guys fighting each other? You guys are brothers. Be nice. Okay. I really thought, really thought that I finally got lighting under control. And here we are. But let's head down into our cellar. Make sure there's no bad guys down here. And, oh boy. I have a feeling. Let's put our grains in here for now. Grains. And let's put... Oh, we've got this meat we got to use up. We're going to put our hides, our meats, and our grains over in this side here. What am I doing? I can just open both of these at the same time. We'll put our hides down here. Put our meat up here. For grain. And we'll keep our veg all the way up in the top here. We got turnips. We're going to have carrots up here. Okay, I think that's everything on us. And look at how fresh these are going to be. These are really going to be fresh. So we're going to make some, we're going to have a lot of porridge. We're going to make a lot of grain porridge with turnips and whatever else we could throw in there. I think we could put veggies in there. I'm feeling confident for the winter. Feeling confident about the food we have. I think there's other things we're going to have to keep in mind for the upcoming winter. And I think the first one's going to be some sort of clothing for warmth. Because we do have a stat for body temperature. And I can only imagine that that's going to affect us negatively if we cannot find an appropriate way to keep warm besides a potential fire. Oh, and it looks like our shears are now in a usable state. So, it is getting late, getting dark out, but I want to give these a test. So we've got these guys out here. So if we... Hey. This is going to make stick collection a heck of a lot easier for us. Oh, love to see it. Love to see it. All right, very cool. Glad we made the shears. Very, I mean, even gladder that we made the saw. And gladdest that we made the doors. Right, and although our crops seem to be doing good, this rain almost all the time has been failing to live up to its name. So, let's let's get these crops nice and watered. And hopefully we'll have another harvest on our hands. Aha! We have another harvest on our hands right now. Ooh, almost broke those. I'm sure you've all seen me do that a lot, where I keep hitting the wrong keys. And I've never actually explained why I keep doing that. Actually, I did explain why I keep doing that in the first ever episode, but I was explaining that while my audio was not properly hooked up. So I never actually got to give a proper explanation as to why I keep flipping my attack and place buttons. The reason for that is when I first started playing Minecraft back in the day, I had a really I thought I saw a bad guy. I had a not so great computer. I mean, I don't know how that thing ran any games. So PvP was completely out of the picture for me. But I did find a love for building within Minecraft. So I ended up... I found myself more often, or rather I should say, I found myself building more in Minecraft than I did fighting off mobs, right? I spent a lot of time in creative mode. So, because of that, it only felt natural for me that the place blocks button should be left click instead of right click. And to this day, that's how I play Minecraft. But when I started playing this game, I didn't want to follow that trend. I wanted to actually use the correct buttons for this game. So I'm trying really hard to relearn to use the correct buttons. But every once in a while, I slip up on that. So that's why I do a lot of flip-flopping on accident with my buttons. So I'll accidentally be trying to play something down and break it. I know it's weird. So it's a weird way for me to play Minecraft, but it's just how I've always done it. We're definitely going to need more storage vessels. So we'll probably repurpose these 3, and we'll put them down in the basement. And we'll make some more... actually, I was going to say we'll make some more reed chests. No, we won't. We'll make wooden chests. Very, very exciting, to be sure. But for now, that's where we're going to leave it. Hey, if you're here, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate you sticking around to the end. And if you're new here, maybe drop a subscribe or a like or actually a comment. You know what? You don't even have to subscribe or like. Comments are huge. And I hope to see you around again in the future.